new video here. It's June 10th, and with an even numbered day comes another batch of harvest spoilers. There are 5 today, 2 of which are forum posts. So we've got one on new and changed slam skills, which was actually, I could not find this on Reddit, but it is on the Path of Exile forums. And a preview of the harvest crafting options along with 3 teaser specs posted on the subreddit. So we're going to just kind of read through these. I'll offer some thoughts. We'll be done. Path of Exile Harvest, we've created a new category of skills called slams. Come on and slam. We've introduced 1 new support and 1 new slam skill, while several existing skills have been recategorized as slams. Today's news post reveals which skills are now considered slams, how they've been improved, and information about the new slam called Earth Shatter. So, hypothesis. Skills that have slam in the name are going to be considered slam skills. Big brain. Alright, we're looking to provide more support for two-handed playstyles and builds that hit slower but hit harder. These changes come alongside improvements to two-handed base types. I like the improvements to base types. That goes a long way. Passive skill tree support, improvements to Warcries, and more. Okay. Fist of War, they already kind of teased. It works with all slams except Veil slams and Ancestral War Chief. Every few seconds, an Ancestor appears above your character. Performs your slam in unison with you, creating a supercharged slam, dealing much more damage with an increased AoE. So it's kind of like Ruthless, I guess, but for slams. It can be these are what you can use with it. Ground Slam, Tech Slam, Earthquake, Earth Shatter, Sunder, Ice Crash, Consecrated Path. Perforate is considered a slam. That's interesting. Leap Slam and Doriani's Touch. Good. There was a post on the subreddit about, like, hey, don't forget, Doriani's Touch is really a slam. Okay, so Earth Shatter is a new level 12 slam attack that sends out 5 damaging fissures in all directions when you slam the ground. At the end of each fissure, a spike bursts from the ground and remains for a short time. If these spikes are in the area of another slam or war cry used by you or an allied player, the spikes will explode, dealing damage in an area around them. The range of the fissures, combined with the area of the exploding spikes, end up spreading damage over a large area with explosions overlapping near the location you slammed. You can alternate between slamming with Earth Shatter using a war cry, letting you kill enemies around you by detonating your spikes while simultaneously preparing to exert your next use of the skill. You can also easily leap slam onto your spikes to trigger them while you move. Any exploding spike can detonate other spikes near it. Okay. So you can leave a trail of spikes with repeated slams, then set them off by leaping onto one of them. I like the sound of that. Seems like a really good way to encourage a mobile playstyle, which two-handed melee kind of needed. Tech Slam, impressive new visual effect. No longer uses charge slams, instead counts endurance charges to grant more AoE and additional damaging cracks in the ground. Okay, I like that it gets AoE and more cracks, so that's huge for coverage. Improves the reward for investing in endurance charges by providing both a larger and more consistent area of effect. It now consumes an endurance charge every 3 slams, rather than a random 35% chance. The additional cracks that endurance charge generate can spread out further from the base impact and are more deterministic. Okay. Enchantments that previously granted a chance for a charge slam now grant an additional chance for cracks. Perforate now provides flat fizz that scales as the gem levels. That's nice. Distribution of its spikes and blood stance have been made more consistent. Higher percentage of its spikes should hit a small target, and investment in AoE and or the number of spikes should keep this percentage of spikes hitting consistent. Sand Stance's base area starts off slightly smaller but increases as the gem levels. Perforate also provides 1 additional spike at all levels, and also grants 2 additional spikes if you've changed stance recently. That's kind of a cool change. The issue with Perforate in the past was that in Sand Stance there were large gaps between spikes. Yup, that's true. Which meant that enemies within those gaps would be missed. The extra spikes it now provides an additional area of effect vastly improve the number of targets that can be hit by a single slam. In Blood Stance, increased AoE used to result in a loss to single target damage. Yep, because your spikes would miss. And the extra spikes from the Perforate enchantment would be placed outside the range of most small enemies and therefore wouldn't contribute any damage to single targets. These changes to Perforate improve its ability to hit enemies more reliably and with a better spread of damage. It's hard to say if this looks like it's even going to be usable. I once used Perforate and very, very quickly I felt like it did not feel good. That it was just not where you want to be. Maybe making it a slam skill is going to be helpful. Hard to say. Sunder. As part of our effort to encourage slower and heavier hitting slams, Sunder has become a much wider and longer but slower cascade. Using Sunder while one cascade is still in motion will cause the existing cascade to end prematurely. I don't like that at all. These cascades will always travel a minimum length. Okay, so you can still use Sunder effectively with multi-strike and fast-hitting weapons when close to enemies. Still releases shockwaves, which can overlap when they hit enemies. Leveling the gem no longer scales its radius, but instead scales its AoE. What's the difference here? It's worse? You want radius. That's dumb. I don't think I like that. Overall, it now provides a better area of effect for slower hitting weapons. Okay. Earthquake, Ground Slam, Ice Crash, receiving numerical changes revealed closer to launch, make them generally stronger. Alright. So, I feel like the damage on these was already fine. What I would really like to see is a little bit of an attack speed increase. I always felt like Ice Crash is okay, but like, they feel so slow, and like no one wants to do that. I mean, if you're doing 8 million damage, but your attack time is like 1 full second versus 1 million damage, and you attack 8 times per second, like what's better? You want the damage. It looks like I got a follow, but it didn't show up on my screen. Oh, because when I'm doing my browser stuff, none of that shows up. But thank you, Mountain Drew. I appreciate the follow. Other slam skills. The other skills that are now categorized as slams are mostly unchanged, but have had their visual effects improved and can be used with the new Fist of War support. Cool. All right, so some numerical changes. If there needs to be more information on what is interacting with slams. If nothing is really interacting with slams, then it doesn't matter. But I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit more. So whatever, cool. Next, preview of Harvest crafting options. In Harvest, you'll cultivate your Sacred Grove, grow dangerous monsters, and slay them to use their life force as a valuable crafting resource. The potential of Harvest crafts is immense and should open up powerful options for leveling and endgame players alike. Today's news post reveals a preview of some of the possible new crafting options. There are over 200 crafts. These are just a few of the more exotic ones. Note that the life force values here are placeholder and arbitrary. So, yeah, it's possible that all of these change. Oh, wow, okay. So, sacrifice a map to gain missions. That's a big deal. Change a stack of fossils into a different type of fossil. That is spicy. Change a stack of essences into a different type of the same tier. It's a shame that it's the same tier. But still very good. You can just buy a stack of the cheapest, deafening or whatever, and you're pretty much guaranteed some reasonable profit there. Same with the fossils. Buy Scorched or Frigid or whatever. Yeah, I like those a lot. Those are really interesting. Stack of oils into a different color oil. Stack of catalyst into a different catalyst. Change a map into random map fragments. Multiple into random map fragments based on its tier. Map into random map currency based on its tier. Map into a random scarab based on its tier. Wow. So those are all pretty cool. That's all that they teased, though. Wow, that's not very much. But still, I really appreciate pretty much all of these. Gosh, I'm going to be playing SSF this league. So that's going to be a big deal. The opportunity to just sort of get, like, some of these things are essentially emulating trading with another human being, which I think is good. Okay, so then we've just got 3 really quick spoilers, and then the video is over. Some seek to change the world. The Awakened. Rare Jewelry, eye level 86, double influence. Yeah. Yeah, this top comment is right. Supporters haven't tried alt spamming on double influence bases. So all of these are people that paid $1,000. You can pay $1,000 to make a divination card, and someone paid to make this. And like, yeah, this is actually a trap. You spam for the single mod you want, and you awaken an orb. I mean, that's, yeah. Belts are good to craft, yeah, because belts. Belts have very few trash affixes anyways. So cool. This would actually be really helpful in SSF if this is relatively common. Have a feeling it's not, but could be at least used to deterministically farm in SSF instead of hoping, instead of crossing your fingers for the Awakener's Orb, which might be difficult, especially for me. Okay, a new passive skill cluster you can utilize in Path of Exile Harvest. So kind of hard to see. We've got Strike Range, Melee Splash AoE, and Tribal Fury. This was one of the ones that was, what, only available on an Anoint? This is a big deal. If these are both Strike Range, too, that's actually really nice, getting 2 Melee Strike Range and targeting 1 additional nearby enemy. Big deal. I like this a lot. It looks like this is going to be down pretty much by Blood Magic. Pretty good spot for it. That'll work out. Yep, they did it. I'm so happy I don't have to waste an Anoint. Yep, you can get this node by level 12 as a Marauder if you're a Maniac. Lets you get answers. Yeah. Okay. So, yep. Seems very good. And another passive skill cluster, by the way. We're also introducing a new oil. Every notable on the passive skill tree will now be anointable. That is a big deal. That is a really big deal. Wow. So there were like, I don't know, 100 notables that you couldn't get because they were added after they made oils. And yeah. Well, dang. I like this. Although this does feel like it's encroaching on the identity of Assassin, right? Like, now that you can get elusive on kill on the tree, that means that you're not going to get elusive on your boots, which opens up another affix for your boots to essentially take over the space of an ascendancy. I don't know. Like, it's cool, right? I like that they're giving players more options, but sometimes I feel like, do you want the options from the ascendancy? Do you want the options from crafted items? Or do you want the options from the passive tree? And I feel like having the options everywhere is not the interesting way to do it, because there's no trade-off, right? You just always get the best stuff. But still, pretty cool. What are people saying about it? Fancy anointment table again. New notable looks really useful. Where does the new oil fit in the tiering? It's in the middle. Okay, so there will be a middle tier. So golds will still be considered golds. Alright. So it's not invalidating gold oils. Anyone that has 18 gold oils in standard, those will actually be more valuable. It's interesting. All right, well, that is everything there. This is such a huge deal. I can't believe that they spoiled it in just this random passive skill cluster. Adding a new oil, making every single notable anointable is a big deal. That definitely matters. Tribal Fury on the tree definitely matters. This is meh, but div cards are always kind of meh. And then seeing some crafting options and seeing some of the changes to slams, very good. Getting more information is always good. None of this stuff really, really hypes me up, except for making every notable anointable, which is a huge deal, like I've said a million times. So 2 more days. 2 more days. Friday we will have another short little video, and then we'll do one Sunday, we'll do one Tuesday, and then I'll probably have one presumably on Wednesday when they release patch notes. That will probably be my last one. Additionally, I will be streaming my league start. Still a little hesitant, planning on going brands, but we'll see what happens. Definitely want to see the patch notes before I really make any serious plans. But yeah, the hype is real. Choo choo, boys.